Isn't it peculiar how life can come to a standstill? That's exactly where I found myself. No frills attached. My name is Carol, and if you had inquired about my days 6 months ago, I would have let out a sigh and replied, predictable. It's not unpleasant, just subdued. Perhaps it's a bit too silent. My children have grown and moved on. Bless them. And Richard, it's been 5 years since he left us. Our charming little abode, complete with its expansive garden, suddenly seemed vast. The garden proved to be the most challenging aspect. Once, it was a delight we both cherished. Richard and I, we would lose ourselves for hours in that space, he tending to his vegetables, while I immersed myself in the beauty of my roses and wildflowers. Once he left, I made an effort to maintain it. Truly I did. But the weeds proved to be more resilient than I was. Gazing through the kitchen window at that chaotic tangle stirred a deep ache in my chest, a relentless reminder of my losses and, truthfully, a reflection of my inner turmoil, a wild growth of silent sorrow. Enter young Ethan. He's the son of Sharon and Bill from across the street. I've known him since he was a tiny creature, all limbs and energy, darting after fireflies in their garden. He left for college, pursuing engineering or something equally impressive, and I hadn't really seen him in years, just fleeting moments during holiday visits. This year, however, he returned for the summer, engaging in a remote internship and assisting his parents. On a Saturday morning in late May, I found myself fixated on a defiant patch of thistle that appeared to taunt me. The sun blazed overhead, and I could have sworn I had yanked that same thistle out of the ground 5 times this season. Frustration washed over me, beads of sweat trickling down my brow, and I must have looked quite the mess with dirt streaked across my cheek and strands of hair rebelliously breaking free from my ponytail. Suddenly, a voice broke the silence. Good morning, Mrs. Henderson. I straightened up, perhaps a bit too quickly for my back's comfort, and caught sight of Ethan leaning against his parents' fence, a coffee mug cradled in his hand. He possessed that familiar, welcoming expression, yet it had transformed into a man's visage, no longer that of a boy. He had grown taller and leaner than his father, exuding a subtle yet undeniable strength. Oh, Ethan. Good morning, my dear, I said, attempting to infuse my voice with more cheer than I truly felt. Back home for a while. Absolutely. For the summer, he grinned, savoring the stillness before my family stirs and sets me to tasks. He waved his mug slightly, and then his gaze wandered over to my garden. I caught a glimpse. Perhaps it was pity, or perhaps concern. He was far too courteous to express anything directly. We exchanged a few words, the kind of friendly banter that neighbors share. And just as he was about to step inside, he paused for a moment. Mrs. Henderson? He said, somewhat hesitantly. I find myself with some spare time in the afternoons. If you ever find yourself in need of some assistance in the garden, I used to lend a hand to my grandpa quite often. I somewhat long for it. I was utterly astonished. A young man extending a hand to assist an elderly neighbor with her overgrown weeds, it seemed as if it belonged to a different era. My initial reaction was to respond, "Oh, no, dear. I'm handling it." Though that wasn't the truth. The idea of someone witnessing the chaos firsthand was utterly humiliating. Yet, as I gazed upon his sincere expression and then at that pesky thistle, a thought crossed my mind. Why not what was there to lose? Aside from a bit of gardening embarrassment, Ethan, I said with a measured tone, that's truly generous. Do you really think so? Text? I wouldn't want to intrude. He shrugged, a true smile brightening his face. Not at all overwhelming. I would be happy to, honestly. It pulls me out of the house, away from the glow of the computer screen. Thus, it was decided. He was set to arrive post-lunch, at approximately 2 o'clock. The following hours passed in a haze, a blend of satisfaction and unease swirling within me. I even organized the potting shed, though I can't quite say why. It wasn't as if we were hosting a garden party. At 2 a soft knock echoed from the back gate. Ethan stood there, clad in a worn t-shirt and jeans, with work gloves on, prepared for the task ahead. "Very well, Mrs. Henderson," he remarked, balancing practicality with a soft touch. "Where shall we begin?" I inhaled deeply. "Well, Ethan," I remarked, waving my hand toward the disarray. "Choose whatever you like. Everything is quite unfortunate." He remained composed, merely nodding as he surveyed the yard with a contemplative gaze. "Shall we take on that expansive area of everything near the old oak tree, remove that, and it could seem like a victory?" He was indeed correct. That area had long been deemed hopeless. It was bold, yet his assurance was captivating. We stumbled upon a weathered wheelbarrow, and I unearthed my extra tools along with a garden fork that had been gathering dust since a time long past. During the initial hour, we toiled largely in quietude, interrupted only by the sound of tools scraping and the sporadic murmurs of effort. The heat was intense, the labor demanding, more challenging than I recalled, yet this time felt distinct. I had company. As I took a moment to wipe my brow, I noticed Ethan diligently working through one patch after another, never uttering a complaint, seemingly unfazed by the sweat cascading down his face. He would inquire, "Is this a weed or something you wish to preserve?" "Mrs. Henderson." I would attempt to remember the details. Everything felt like a haze. A cadence emerged. He confronted the challenging, entrenched issues. I trailed behind, removing the lesser distractions and collecting the remnants. Gradually, the naked soil revealed itself from the dense foliage, akin to discovering a hidden gem. I discovered a sense of enjoyment in it. The discomfort in my back was a satisfying one, a testament to hard work rather than hopelessness. The quiet was not devoid of meaning. It was a comforting presence, rich with mutual intent. I stole a look at Ethan, his dark hair slick with sweat, his t-shirt soaked, intensely focused, resolute. His gentle integrity enveloped me in warmth. After what felt like an eternity, a glimmer of hope emerged in my overlooked heart. Spending afternoons with Ethan turned into a familiar pattern. He would arrive at 2 as dependable as the ticking of a clock, following his internship hours, initially. Our conversations were sparse. The silence spoke volumes. The snip of shears, the rustle of leaves, the thud of weeds landing in the compost pile. As the garden came to life once more, so too did our dialogues. It began with a whisper. He would inquire about a plant, perhaps one of Richard's cherished roses that I was preserving. I would reveal its name, the moment we planted it, a cherished memory. Ethan listened attentively, his brow furrowed in concentration as he carefully pruned a dead branch and loosened the soil around a struggling perennial. He also talked about his engineering projects, which I found a bit difficult to grasp, yet his enthusiasm was truly infectious. He reminisced about his grandpa's farm, the summers filled with driving a tractor and mending fences. I suppose that's the source of his competence. He wasn't merely being kind, he derived pleasure from the labor, from transforming disorder into structure. As he grappled with a tenacious root, he remarked, "This garden is like a puzzle, really, determining what should be removed, what should remain, and how to harmonize everything." I had never considered it from that perspective, yet he was indeed correct. The metamorphosis of the garden was nothing short of extraordinary. Places I thought were lost began to flourish. As the weeds disappeared, neglected flowers timidly emerged, initially hesitant, then with growing confidence. Ethan possessed an extraordinary ability to recognize potential. He would gesture towards a scraggly bush and remark, "With some nourishment and a trim here, it will thrive again." Most of the time. He was correct. My rose bushes, which I believed were finished, unexpectedly blossomed with vibrant growth after he removed the brambles suffocating them and incorporated Richard's old fish emulsion. The fragrance of roses, long missing, wafted through the atmosphere once more, a soothing remedy for my spirit. One afternoon, we paused on the weathered bench Richard crafted, enjoying the lemonade I had prepared. The sun caressed our faces, while a gentle breeze stirred the leaves of the free-spirited oak tree. "You know, Mrs. Henderson," Ethan remarked, surveying our efforts. "This garden has truly impressive foundations." Richard always said that. I replied, a gentle smile appearing. Discussing Richard felt more manageable with Ethan present. He refrained from offering empty words and simply listened. He crafted every detail. You see, each path, each flower bed. He possessed a keen eye for detail. Ethan remarked, "There's a sense of tranquility in this place. Even amidst the chaos, one could sense it." That resonated with me profoundly. He grasped the essence. It transcended mere weeds. It was about revealing something invaluable. As the weeks unfolded, our conversations grew more profound. He revealed the uncertainties of his future and the weight of the pressures he experienced. I shared my experiences, my aspirations from when I was his age, the happiness and heartaches of family, and the subtle pain of being a widow. It was always effortless. There was a buoyancy, a seamless exchange. His gentle, inquisitive questions inspired me to open up, and in that moment, I sensed a part of myself coming alive. The house felt less vacant. Anticipation filled my afternoons, where camaraderie blossomed and laughter erupted as we stumbled over a forgotten tool or a weed surrendered with a gratifying snap. I've taken up baking once more. Cookies, perfect for sharing during those refreshing lemonade breaks. Ethan's heartfelt gratitude, the sparkle in his eyes, rekindled a joy long buried. The weight on my shoulders lifted. I found myself sleeping more soundly and smiling more often. One evening, my daughter, Sarah, called and remarked, "Mom, you sound different, more joyful." She was indeed correct. This young man, embodying quiet kindness and possessing strong hands, hadn't merely restored my garden, he was aiding me in reclaiming my very essence. The phrase "you won't believe what happened" didn't refer to a dramatic event. Rather, it captured the subtle unfolding of connection and joy. The height of summer arrived with the flourishing of Richard's award-winning climbing rose, New Dawn. It had begun as a sorrowful, elongated creature when we first embarked on this journey. We cut it back significantly, nourished it, and reshaped its prickly branches. At that moment, a cascade of delicate pink, fragrant blossoms cascaded over the trellis, bursting forth with unapologetic joy. Stunning. As the day waned, Ethan and I found ourselves before it, the sun descending and enveloping everything in a warm, golden light. The atmosphere was heavy with the intoxicating, fragrant aroma of the rose, a blend of sweetness and spice. "Wow," Ethan murmured, his voice filled with wonder. "We truly accomplished that." "You were mostly responsible for that," I said softly. "You envisioned it." He shook his head in disbelief. "No, it was a collaborative endeavor, Mrs. Henderson. You recalled where it required assistance, what it enjoyed." He gazed at me, a gentle smile gracing his lips. "It's stunning. Your spouse would feel a sense of pride." Emotion welled up within me, not from sadness, but from profound appreciation. "Indeed," I replied, my voice heavy. "He certainly would." In that moment, enveloped by roses, tranquility washed over me. It wasn't merely the rose or the garden, it was the bond that mattered. This young man, who was once merely the neighbor's son, had transformed into a friend, a confidant, and a partner in this modest restoration endeavor. He illuminated not only my yard, but also my existence. The task remained incomplete. Gardens are perpetually in progress, but a change had occurred. The shadows that once darkened my days have dissipated, giving way to a sense of fulfillment and a fresh gratitude for the journey of growth, both in nature and within myself. This surprising bond was a treasure, more valuable than the rarest bloom. As August faded, the lengthy summer days began to dwindle. The light grew gentler, as evenings began to whisper of autumn's approach. Ethan's internship was drawing to a close, and his return to college, which had once seemed far away, was now fast approaching. A subtle sadness intertwined with our time spent in the garden. We didn't address it openly, yet it lingered, an implicit understanding that this chapter was coming to an end. The garden, however, stood as a remarkable achievement, colorful, thriving, a reflection of our hard work. The vegetable patch Ethan brought back to life burst with tomatoes, zucchini, and peppers. My flower beds overflow with vibrant zinnias, cheerful marigolds, and the delicate beauty of late summer asters. The new dawn roses, in particular, flourished beautifully once more. One afternoon, while deadheading petunias, Ethan remarked, "My classes start in 2 weeks. I plan to return to campus a week early to get everything in order." I nodded, maintaining a calm facade, yet a sharp pang coursed through me. "Certainly, my dear. It must be thrilling to return and reunite with your friends." "Yeah, I am," he replied, though a wistful expression lingered in his eyes as he stared at the garden. "Yet, I will surely feel the absence of this. Quite a bit." "I'm going to miss you too, Ethan," I said, the depth of my feelings catching me off guard. "This garden owes its beauty to you, and I must admit, my feelings would not be the same without your influence." He appeared both sheepish and satisfied. "The pleasure was all mine, Mrs. Henderson. Honestly, I gained a wealth of knowledge." "Oh, I believe I'm the one who gained more insight." I chuckled. He had imparted practical knowledge, composting, companion planting, but beyond that, he had rekindled a sense of shared purpose, the warmth of companionship, and the unexpected joy of renewal in life. He demonstrated that compassion and bonds can thrive in any environment, much like a neglected blossom breaking through tough soil. On the eve of his departure, he stopped by once more, not for work, but to bid farewell. I had crafted a peach pie using fruit from a tree we had preserved. We lingered on the porch, sunlight dancing through the leaves, the garden alive with the gentle buzz of bees. "I appreciate it, Mrs. Henderson," he remarked after enjoying a second slice, "for all that you've done, for allowing me to assist." "Oh, Ethan," I said, gently patting his hand, "the gratitude is truly mine. Your care revived my garden, and in turn, it revived me as well." It seemed daring to express, yet it was a fact. The astonishing aspect wasn't a spectacular occasion. It was this: a young man bridged the gap of generations, extending a hand without any anticipation, creating a bond that healed something profound within me. He guided me to discover delight in the earth, tranquility in the foliage, and a revitalized sense of resilience and joy. He departed the following morning. From my window, I observed him packing his car, his parents bustling around him. He cast a quick look at my house, and I offered a wave. He returned the gesture with a broad, inviting smile before driving off. A soft ache lingered, a tender sorrow, not hopelessness, but the feeling that comes from longing for a companion. The garden holds a serene stillness, yet it is far from devoid of life. It brims with vitality, overflowing with the warmth of summer recollections. The hard work is behind me. I can handle it from here. As I tend to the garden, whether I'm uprooting a stubborn weed or appreciating a vibrant bloom, my thoughts drift to Ethan. Our conversations and his unwavering dedication come to mind. He demonstrated that even in moments of despair, with support, perseverance, and a willingness to embrace change, fresh beginnings can emerge. That's the most astonishing, delightful thing. The son of my neighbor lent a hand in the garden and guided me on my journey back to my true self. I will always hold a deep sense of gratitude for that. The seasons may change, yet the lessons and camaraderie from that summer will serve as a lasting reminder of life's unforeseen beauty,